Well, we are born in the tiger year, and so my mother was always trying to find a tiger for me. She couldn't do that, but at the auction in Christie's in Hong Kong, there was a lovely tiger. Well, not a tiger, but a cat, and this piece is made in the Ming period, so that's about 600 years ago. Now, it's obviously not a tiger, but nevertheless, it's got remarkable character, and it's always an animal on a lotus leaf. So the carving was quite remarkable, and also the very soft feeling of the jade of that period. Which they used to say it was how should I say this, unctuous, which means it feels a bit like ointment. Okay, and that was very that was probably the starting period. Yeah. No, as I say, it's the history of it. Not so much what the jade is worth, but the history that it tells you, and it tells you of such a long history of carving and the material, and for some reason it's hard to believe how they could carve a piece of jade so long ago. It's a silicate, both the nephrite and the jadeite. Now, nephrite was called that because the Spanish thought you could get rid of your kidney stones by eating this nephrite jade. So, well, that's quite stupid. Of course, it can't. But so that was nephrite, and the history of nephrite is so very long. As I say, about 7,000 BC all the way to the modern period, and it was something that became the most precious of all stones in China. While as jadeite, which is mainly found in Burma, and that type of jade, let's say, it is very late. It was something happened during the Qing period. You know, the Manchurians, they quite liked that as a jewelry. And once the emperor liked jade, everyone liked it. So it became a passion. Well, nevertheless, there are pieces that were jewelry at the time that it was carved. Obviously, there are pieces from the Hongshan period, which is way back around 5,000 BC. There was jewelry, but not obviously. We can't know exactly who was wearing it. I assume it would be someone with a lot of power or money. We can't call it money, I suppose. No one had actual money in those days. But yeah, no, the jewelry for the modern days, that type of jadeite, that has taken over the nephrite. It's mainly different grades over the thousands of years, and some of the best jade was used up by the emperors and the generals at various periods of the Shang, the Zhou, into the Spring Autumn, the Warring States, then the first emperor, and then the Han. We use up most of the very best jade. But then they went further to the west and found more jade in that period. So it's a very different type of jade. It still is jade, but it's, how can I say this? It's a different type of material. So now you could take a pebble this size. If you bought like 10 pieces, it could run into the millions. So, but why should it be that price? Well, again, it depends who's willing to pay the price. That's all. jade comes in a number of colors because it depends on what elements are inside the molecule that they have mixed in with the sort of jade that you have. So it depends on the magnesium and the iron, and so you end up with a favorite color would be white jade. But then again, it changes over the years when it's entombed, and then the jade it goes from white to gray or to green, depending on the tomb that they found in. At the moment, if you're talking about the price now, I would still say that the carving, the quality of the workmanship, and whether it's nice and shiny, those things are the main things. Now, as you can see, this is a Rhyton. A Rhyton, it would be a drinking vessel. If this was in the West, it's normally made of gold or silver. But in China, it's made with jade, which is rather strange. Now, I think largely, if you want to see whether there's an old piece, you probably need a microscope to see the way the carving and the polishing. That will tell you when this was worked on. Because with all the materials affected by the very hard drills and the things to polish with, compared to the old days, will affect the surface of the jade. So this will tell you that this is a fairly newish piece. But I mean, nevertheless, you have a very good workmanship here. You can see that they've covered they tried to replicate the Han period. They have the phoenix, the dragon, exactly like here. Dragon, two dragons, and the big phoenix. As a sana, you always buy the inferior pieces, and sometimes you're lucky finding a good piece for a good price. And this would have been way back in the 90s when China was poor. So loads of the good pieces were coming into Hong Kong, and that was a good time to start collecting. But basically, when you buy jade is always old. Depending on when it's actually carved, that's what makes the difference. It takes experience, and it takes time to learn whether something is old or something new in terms of when it was carved, and that affects the price to me. Yes, well, it partly depends on how well it's been preserved in the entombment. But once it's in your hands, the main thing is to keep it away from soap. Nothing alkaline is always dangerous. That will affect. For instance, now it's nice and shiny and translucent, but alkali will end up turning it whitish on the outside. So you need to keep it dry and clean. The odd thing is jade needs to be played with. So it's although being safe is of course important, but every once you have time to play with a piece, you need to get it out and clean it and just For some reason, it responds to the human touch. I don't think temperature is too important. Don't let it get too. I think it needs adequate moisture, nothing too dry.